Picture a room with 23 people in it, a small party, a classroom, a soccer squad. Just 23. Now, what are the odds that two of them share the exact same birthday? There are 365 days in a year to choose from. So your gut probably says you'd need a huge crowd, maybe 183 people, half of all the days, before a match gets likely. Actually, with just 23, it's already more likely than not. 50-50 lands at 23, and almost nobody believes it. The reason it feels so wrong is that you're answering the wrong question. You picture yourself walking around, hunting for someone who shares your birthday, and that really is rare. But that's not the question. A match is any two people in the room sharing a day with each other, you, them, or any pair that doesn't involve you at all. So you're not really counting people. You're counting pairs. And that one shift is the whole secret. Take your 23 people and connect every single one to every other. Each line is one possible match. And the number of lines isn't 23. It's 253. 253 separate chances for a collision, hiding inside a room that looks like it only holds 23. Now, this is exactly where intuition trips. If you ask a different question, what are the odds someone shares MY specific birthday? The answer really is small, and that's the number your gut keeps reaching for. Because for your birthday in particular, each other person has just a 1 in 365 shot, so the math is 1 minus 364 over 365, raised to the number of people. And to get that past 50%, you'd need about 253 people in the room, which is roughly the crowd your intuition was imagining all along. But the original question was looser. Not your day, any shared day between any two people. And that collapses 253 people all the way down to 23. Same world, two wildly different numbers. There's a reason the wrong answer feels so right. Your brain estimates this kind of thing in a straight line. Add one more person, and you imagine adding just one more chance for a match. Slow, steady, linear. But pairs don't grow in a line. They grow like a square. The number of pairs among n people is n times n minus 1 over 2, so it curves upward, faster and faster, leaving your linear gut hopelessly behind. Add a 10th person to 9, and you don't add one pair, you add 9. Add a 23rd to 22, and you add 22 new pairs at once. People add one at a time, pairs multiply. To get the exact odds, flip the question around. What's the chance that nobody in the room shares a birthday? The first person just takes a day. The second has to dodge it, 364 days still free. The third has to dodge 2, the fourth dodge 3, and on it goes. Multiply all of those shrinking fractions together, and by the 23rd person, the chance of no match at all has quietly dropped below 1/2. And 1 minus that is the chance of a match, about 51%. Just past a coin flip with only 23 people. It's worth seeing the actual numbers climb, because they're startling. With 10 people, the chance of a shared birthday is only about 12%. Small, reasonable, exactly what you'd expect. But then it sprints. At 23 people you cross 51%. At 30, you're already at 70%. At 41, 90%. And by 57 people, a number that would barely fill a small lecture hall, the probability of a shared birthday is over 99%. A near certainty from a crowd you could fit around a few dinner tables. And it only accelerates from there. Plot the probability against the number of people, and you get a curve that doesn't creep, it rockets upward. By 50 people, the chance of a shared birthday is about 97%. By 70, it's 99.9%, practically guaranteed, and still a very long way from 365. And here's the deeper thing. This was never really about 365 days. The same shape applies to any pool of possibilities. You roughly need about 1.2 times the square root of the number of options. Plug in 365 days, and 1.2 times its square root lands you right back at 23. The famous answer falls straight out of a square root. And it works for anything you can collide: combination locks, ID numbers, random codes, digital fingerprints. The square root is the secret. Collisions always show up far sooner than the raw count suggests. You don't even have to trust the formula, you can just watch. Drop 23 random birthdays onto a calendar of 365 days, and far more often than not, two of them land on the very same square. Run it again and again, and the matches keep coming because all of those pairs are quietly doing the work in the background. And if you don't trust a single run, do it the way a statistician would. Simulate not one room, but 1,000 rooms, each with 23 random people. Count how many of those 1,000 rooms contain at least one shared birthday, and you'll land remarkably close to 507 of them, just over half. Which is exactly, almost eerily, what the formula promised, 50.7%. The paradox isn't a trick of wording, it's just true, every time you check. And this is not just a party trick. The very same math runs straight through computer security. Finding two different files that produce the same digital fingerprint, a hash collision, takes only about the square root of the effort you'd expect, thanks to this exact explosion of pairs. It's literally called a birthday attack, and it's the reason serious systems use long hashes and sprinkle random salt into your passwords. It even hides on the field. A World Cup squad has exactly 23 players, so most squads, in most tournaments, secretly contain a shared birthday. And the same effect has caused real trouble in real courtrooms, in the most serious place imaginable, DNA evidence. In 2005, an analyst in Arizona searched a database of about 65,000 DNA profiles, comparing every profile against every other, every pair, just like our room. She found roughly 122 pairs of different people whose profiles matched at 9 of 13 markers, matches that prosecutors often called vanishingly rare. It wasn't fraud, and it wasn't error. It was the birthday effect, hiding in the pairs, and it forced a hard, ongoing conversation about how DNA match odds get presented to juries. Now, there's one version of this where your intuition is finally right. Picture 366 people in a room, one more than the number of days in a year. With that many, a shared birthday is no longer just likely. It is guaranteed. There simply aren't enough days for everyone to have a different one. But that certainty is a trap for your gut, because 50-50 doesn't wait anywhere near that long. It arrives at 23, about 1/16 of the way to that guarantee. And that's the real lesson of the whole curve, likely shows up enormously sooner than certain. You don't need to fill all the days to make a collision a safe bet, you just need enough pairs. So the real lesson is bigger than birthdays. When you want to know how likely some coincidence is, don't count the things. Count the chances. A rare event, given enough opportunities to happen, stops being rare and quietly becomes expected. That's the engine underneath the whole paradox. And once you see it, coincidences everywhere stop feeling quite so spooky. Shared birthdays, repeated lottery numbers, two files with the very same fingerprint. Two strangers with the same idea, the same pin, the same favorite song, give the world enough pairs, and the genuinely surprising quietly becomes the inevitable. Put 23 people in a room, and the arithmetic of pairs has already made up its mind. Two of them almost certainly share a birthday. You just have to ask the right question to see it.